I love that thing. It's a big blast, to get it
Oh, yeah.
going. So Tom, here
Good
we are.
afternoon.
I know. Here we are, the 25th of November. You believe this?
Can't hardly believe it. Thanksgiving
Woo.
week. Christmas is right around the corner, and
Well,
it's crazy
from a
time.
marketing standpoint, it's there, man. They're out. My neighbor's putting up his decorations. I got another neighbor 2 weeks ago had them up. So I guess they're trying to shame us here in our subdivision, to put things out. And sales and marketing, they're banging on the door. They want your business. And what you been doing with yourself, Tom?
Just pressing forward with building the fundraising company, Q Up Fundraising, and
Oh,
projects around that, and looking to get that rocking and rolling in a significant way this coming 2025. I can't believe that. So, but
that's amazing, isn't it?
yeah,
We're here. We'll be here before you know it.
yeah.
Well, Tom, I know you always do this. I'm going to steal your thunder since we're in Thanksgiving, and we'll probably ask our guests this as well. What are you grateful for?
I'm always grateful for my health, that I have the opportunity to be above ground, I like to say. This is the best day of my life, um, because what I do at this particular moment is going to dictate what happens in the future. So I'm so grateful for my health, the
Nice.
opportunity to serve, and hopefully make a difference and influence somebody's lives. That's my mission as well. I'm
Tremendous.
grateful to know you. I'm grateful for what we've been doing here with Elevate Your Profits, and
How
I'm
many
grateful
years we've been doing this?
It's 3.5 years, my friend.
That's
Maybe
scary.
almost 4. Yeah.
And we're still stumbling and bumbling out there. Two old guys trying to do this, and I kiddingly say we have no business doing it. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. This is a young man's or young person's game, I should say. But everybody asks Tom, and I'm just going to throw this out there. What's Elevate Your Profits about? And I think you put this pretty succinct at one point in time: to better people's lives and to be a force for good in the world. That's what we try and do. And like tonight's guest, before I bring in Sara, I will say this: this is a lady that is a mother, a grandmother. She's a very pleasant person to be around. I first engaged with Sara at Peachtree Corners Business Association meeting. Uh, very, very nice lady. And she, as they say, walks the talk. She is a networker to the nth degree. And I've got to ask these things like, have you ever heard the term professional connector? Or and that's what Sara is. And we're going to get into that, but just a little bio. She's, like I said, professional connector, and she's got Branch Consulting Group. And we'll put up here how to get in touch with Sara as we go along. And she says, I'm a professional connector, which means I get people in front of their ideal customers. Now that's cool, because we're all trying to do that, right? Those of us that are in business. And with the holidays coming up, hey, you never know. Maybe you want to get in touch with that significant other you may not know about. So Sara's going to share a lot of things. And she says, I own a business, networking groups that use 21st century technology to connect with people. Network in Action franchise. So we'll get into that as well. Without further ado, I'm going to bring the lady in here herself. Miss Sara, how you doing?
Hey, y'all.
Great.
I love that Southern accent.
I know. I got to ask this. Are you originally from the South? Did you grow up here or?
Well, what do you think? Yes, I did.
Yeah. And I love it. I've been here since 1984.
Yeah.
So
I actually am an Atlanta native. I was born and raised inside the city limits of Atlanta.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Do you know Ben Gay by chance? Does that name ring a bell?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. Well, he grew up in that vicinity near East Lake, near the country club there.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool guy. He's a disciple of Napoleon Hill. So that book, Think and Grow Rich. So yeah.
Yeah.
Ben's written a series on like master closers and all that. So a very, I will say, astute young man. When I say young man, I say that tongue in cheek. Ben's been around, and he's dealt with the astronauts. He's dealt with oh my goodness, I can't remember the gentleman.
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. I did not know till Ben shared. We had him on here. He read the book, Not Think and Grow Rich: How to Win Friends and Influence People. Manson read the book. So Ben's been exposed to a few things in his day, being a master salesperson. And with you, I just got to ask this. So if you can start out, what is a professional connector? Can you enlighten us on that?
Yes. Well, as you said in the intro, it's my job to get people connected to their ideal customer and teach them how to expand their network so they can do the same thing for other people. So it's a matter of teaching people to connect to other people, to connect other people, to connect other people. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I got to ask this question. When you put in here, like, are you getting out and networking? You know, now when we say that, I know you and I talked about this, because some people, they don't like to engage. They're not that they're antisocial, but how do you approach someone? Maybe you're at an event, because I remember back in the dark ages and being in the hospitality, we'd divide up a room when we were like a bunch of barracudas, and we'd look for titles, names, positions, and, you know, we'd go from there. But it's a little bit different today, isn't it, Sarah? I mean, when you're networking with people, could you share that with us?
Sure. Well, if you think about the history of networking, business networking started in the late 1980s. And the structure was weekly meetings, first thing in the morning. Everybody stood up, recited an elevator pitch in hopes that everybody else in the room would either memorize or remember the most of your elevator pitch and be an extension of your sales force. And you would come back the next week and you would have to bring leads. So it was a very transactional business. Now we're in the 21st century and we have so many competing elements for our attention. What we really need to do is develop relationships. Put the technology down, get away from the computer, and talk to people face to face and develop relationships. And that's how we figure out, for example, Mark, having a conversation with you, I know who you need to be connected to. And Tom, having a conversation with you, I know who you need to be connected to. And it's highly likely that I know at least one, if not two or three people that each of you should get to know. And so that's really the ideal motivation for networking, helping people get connected to other people.
Right. And here's something else I want to share. You mentioned 80 to 90%, and I know we're in the technology age. Some people think that you can just point, click, and it happens. But you mentioned here that small businesses or new businesses result from a face-to-face, as I like to say, networking event or engagement process. Could you explain that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So the way that we salespeople and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs are really successful, again, is by creating relationships. And that's difficult to do electronically. Even if you connect with somebody online, you eventually must talk to them face to face. Now, Mark, you've said you've not met Tom face to face live ever,
Right.
but you are still with each other face to face. You can see the expressions on each other's face, the tone of voice, that type of thing. That is what really matters, because we want to have a relationship with people that we know, like, and trust. And it takes time and it takes repeated one-to-one meetings, but that's how we develop know, like, and trust with people.
Awesome. It kind of sounds like, and I shared that book at our meeting, Larry Levine. I'm putting a plug in for your book, Larry, but most importantly, he talks about authenticity and being authentic with people.
Yeah.
And not false and phony. And that too takes time. And that's why I was going to ask you, you feel very comfortable using this. Do you ever find when you want to engage with people, like sometimes I'll say, hey, do you want to do it the old fashioned way, a telephone call, or would you prefer, we stream, and that way you get to see me, I get to see you, and we can, just have a conversation. How do you feel about using this type of medium here?
Well, sometimes it's the only way to meet people. For example, I went to a conference in Philadelphia in September, and the majority of the people I met don't live in the Atlanta area. So the only option I had was to meet with them online. And it turns out that both of us knew people in other cities that we could be connected to. So that works. But the ideal, the absolute number one best way to connect with people is in person, face to face. And I like to have lunch or even dinner with people because you take longer to talk. You can think more. It's not like you're trying to complete an entire relationship in 15 minutes. So that's the beauty of sitting with people, sharing a meal, thinking about what's going on in each other's lives. And that's a benefit to everybody.
Tremendous.
Yeah, I want to go back to something Mark opened up with. I've been in business for myself since 1983. So I've been involved in transitions of all different types of networking. But what you said in the beginning, Mark, that it used to be was just go out there, get a name, phone number, find out what they do. And, that, of course, that's good for a database, but it just doesn't build relationship.
Right.
So through the process of learning how to network, used to run a business networking group called EIB, and the founder of it passed away, and I'm looking to start that up again. But it's that relationships that opens doors, and caring about the other person, not so much about what you do. I always like to flip it. I want to know as much about you as I can, and know how, get to know you, like you, get some trust there. I probably one of my strengths in business is I've always got somebody I could refer somebody to.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I'm a great hooker, I guess, hooking people up.
Yep.
So,
and to piggyback off that, I know, Sara, you've talked about that. Sometimes, we pick up the phone if you're a sales professional and you're making your calls or trying to engage with people. Maybe you can't help them in your specified arena, but if you're listening, you might be able to help them. I've had some people that have been let go for various reasons and, have taken a resume and forwarded it to the appropriate person, things of that nature. And I've often said, you never know who you're going to meet and who can help you, who can connect with you, even if they're not in your field of endeavor. Don't shut the door. How do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. I was just thinking a conversation I had a couple of months ago with the head prosecutor for our county. And I don't have anything to do with law. I don't have anything to do with the court system. But he and I got chatting. A subject came up about a cultural issue. And it turns out that we were able not connect each other, but connect two people that we both know.
Oh, wow.
Who are interested in solving a particular cultural problem. And I never knew that Eric and I could connect two people together, but we did. We connected two nonprofits together who are really, really concerned about helping at-risk youth. So,
well, since you mentioned Eric, I put his comment. This is Eric Bam.
Oh,
and he said, I don't ever want to meet Mark face to face. His movie star good looks, yeah, right, Eric, would probably leave you speechless. Oh my. Okay, yeah, that's our Eric Bam, but he was on last week.
Eric.
Thank you, Eric. He's making a couple comments along the way, but no, I think what you just said there is important. And when I was younger, like I said, they'd cut us loose. Okay, there's 75 people. You take this half, you take that half. Okay, let's see what we come up with. And you'd get business cards, and and all you cared about was a title, and it was crazy. And now when I go to these things, I like meeting the unknown, because sometimes that unknown may fool you. I do go to some trade shows on occasion, and I have found that was talking to, as they say, the man, the CEO, or the guy that makes it happen. Some people call him God. But when I was talking to that individual, it was funny to watch the rest of the group. They were like standing back, trying to figure out who I was. And, and I just told them, no, I'm an attendee. I'm not in your industry, but, since you asked me, this is what I do. I didn't do a product dump, and I just asked them, well, how do you feel about, engaging people face to face? How's it helping your business? What do your customers think when they meet with you in a face to face setting? And he appreciated it. It was a great conversation. So,
Oh, yeah.
it's good.
No,
I'm
it's just,
sorry.
I think people really enjoy meeting new people. And as you said earlier, Mark, whether they're in our industry or not, it's worthwhile getting to know them and
Right.
finding out what it is that they're trying to accomplish in their life. It's all about how we can help each other.
Right, absolutely. I got to ask you this. So you're an author of Connections Change Everything. Can you tell us about that, please?
Yes. Connections Change Everything is a course that I wrote that I use as the basis to teach people how to do face-to-face networking. And it came about because you mentioned the franchise that I bought, Network in Action. I had left about 2 years ago. I left a corporate job as the director of training and development for a software company. And my husband and I planned it. He owns a franchise. We wanted to find something that was complementary to his. And we found Network in Action, did our due diligence, and decided that was what we would join. And they had promised me that they had very robust training for not only for the franchisees, but yes, there's NIA.
Yep.
Not only for the franchisees, but for the members of the group. Now, most people think that watching a YouTube video or reading a document is training. It's not. That's an information load. So I thought, okay, now I've got to Google networking training because I know that most of the people who would come to my group probably don't know how to network. And that was evidenced by all of the networking groups that I visited in an effort to recruit people to come to my networking group. It was like, oh my God, they don't know what they're doing. So I found out that there wasn't a networking course on the market, not even at the local university down the street from me. That university in their business school has a major titled Professional Selling.
Oh, wow.
They don't teach face-to-face networking. So I said, okay, that's got to be my responsibility. I wrote the course. And now the university, I'm teaching at the university.
Which one is that? Why don't you share that with us?
That's Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw
State University.
That's great.
And in the business school, I'm teaching face-to-face networking. Even the professor said they needed to take my course. So
that's cool. That's very cool.
So,
how did the kids receive that? The students? I mean, were they terrible? Did they?
They loved it. They said this has made the biggest difference for them. A couple of them said they thought their professors were stuck in the 80s. But with the topics that I've given them and the exercises that I gave them to go through for the course, they said this is real life experience. And one of the biggest things, the most common thing I hear is, when I get my first sales job, I'm going to go to my new sales manager and say, what is my ideal customer and where can I find them?
Oh, wow.
And every company should know that.
Yes.
Every sales manager, every marketing manager, everybody should know it. And I told them, I said, don't you leave those people alone until they can tell you who your ideal customer is and where you can find them.
Oh, wow. And could you just share a few? I don't want to steal your thunder because I'd rather people get your course, but can you share a few snips of what you offer? I mean,
Of course I can. I actually give a presentation that's called The 5 Essential Steps of Networking that is basically an introduction to my course. And it's identify your ideal customer, find out where they hang out, and be prepared for where they hang out. I give very specific instructions that if you go to a networking event, a business association meeting for the first time and you're alone, don't have a wingman with you, you go to somebody who's in the room and say, hey, can you point me to the organizer, take me to your leader. And then you tell that leader person who your ideal customer is, and they will be more than happy to connect you with 3 or 4 people in the room.
awesome.
But you've got to research it very carefully. The next thing is really interesting, and that is, I believe the day of the elevator pitch those days are numbered. I'll tell my students, we're not using elevator pitches anymore, because an elevator pitch is more sales oriented, more transaction oriented. I call what I teach them to use, I call it a value statement. And a value statement does two things. It gives people ideas or some provocative information that causes them to say, oh, what, you do what? And then that communicates the value of your business. And the second part is the benefit of doing business with me. So I might use that statistic that you said earlier, Mark, which was, did you know for a solopreneur and an entrepreneur that 80 to 90% of their new business comes from face-to-face networking, not referrals, but net new business? Oh, I know that. Yes. So guess what? That makes face-to-face networking the single most effective and least expensive marketing activity you can participate in. Oh, so I get a lot of interest from people. I've had people at networking meetings just walk right up to me and say, I'm not good at connecting. I need your help. So that is a value statement. So I communicated the value of my business and then the benefit of doing business with me. So that's what I coach everybody to do. Cool. Then the next part that's important is understanding why we need to get one-to-ones and when you should get a one-to-one. So let's say, Mark and Tom, you have gone to independent networking events. You don't know anybody. And you know the trick of going to the meeting organizer and saying, hey, my ideal customer is, let's say, real estate agents. So I'd like to be connected with some real estate agents. So they'll introduce you to one or two. You strike up a conversation using a combination of personal and business questions. And you start listening to them and you say, hey, this sounds really interesting. I think we should get a one-to-one and see how we can help each other. Nobody ever turns down help. Right. And the second thing is you book the appointment right there on the spot. You do not leave without at least 2 one-to-one meetings booked. If it's a large meeting, you should be able to get 3. If it's a multiple day meeting, you should leave with 5 or 10 or 12. Right. But we human beings, unfortunately, are horrible at follow-up. So if I'm right, am I right?
Oh, that's true.
And so if you only connect business cards, you're just going to have an exercise in futility trying to get these people to talk to you. So that you get one-to-ones right on the spot. And then the secret sauce really is, once you get to the one-to-one, is having a whole battery of questions in your head that you can use to get that person to tell you what's going on in their business and in their life, to see if you really can help them. Right. You'll talk about what their family's like, what their recreation is like, what's their organization like, how long have they had their business, what made them get started, what are challenges in your business, excuse me. And if they have any challenges, you can say, well, you know what, I'm here to help you connect with some people that can help you with those challenges. And I've done that on numerous times when I sit down with somebody and I think that they are an ideal customer. And it turns out the bottom line is the person doesn't know how to run a business. So I connect them up with a business coach to help them learn how to run their business. Right. So we can truly help each other.
Sure. I'm going to speak for myself on this. I started a new business called Q Up Fundraising, helping small nonprofits with a vehicle to raise money for their economic needs. Do you help people like myself or business like myself identify the appropriate types of networking groups to go to and how to find them and how to get plugged in?
Absolutely. I'll help not-for-profit, small business, big business. I've even had several salespeople. I'm getting ready to start training the sales force of a nationwide business. And it's going to obviously take some time, but they're not a small entrepreneurial business. So I will do one-to-one face-to-face coaching, and I will do small group coaching. And it doesn't matter if it's a not-for-profit, if it's a majorly profitable company, I will help anybody who needs networking coaching.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What I'm finding out in this is that no matter what size of or what role a person plays in a business, they're associated or know somebody that is in a church group or a youth organization. And I just want to basically chum the waters a little bit, I guess, best way to put it, do a little fishing and identify who do they know that could possibly benefit from my offering. And so,
well, once somebody has gone through my course, one of the things I tell them to ratchet up their networking skills is to start speaking in front of those business groups that they've been visiting. And you get a lot more exposure when you are accepted as a lunch and learn group development activity. But that's what I use my PowerPoint presentation for, is to be in front of every business association, every chamber of commerce that I can find, and let them know what I do and how I can help them. So that's an advanced skill in networking, is speaking in front of groups.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And which is I think people would rather die by fire than do public speaking. So,
Tom, I'm actually coaching a woman right now, one-to-one coaching on getting her over that. I used to be a presentations coach years ago, so I'm helping her get over that fear so she can speak to groups.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I really enjoy the opportunity to speak in front of groups. I've done that for years, since 1983. Presentations about what I did in financial services, educational seminars, all that, personal development, the mindset, systems. And so
you could help me, because the very first module in my course is all about mindset. You can't get started unless you got the right mindset.
Yeah, I'm a certified consultant with Proctor Gallagher Institute, Bob Proctor.
Oh, yeah.
You familiar with Bob?
Yeah.
Understanding how the subconscious dictates the outcomes we get, and being able to
Totally.
So, and fear and where that comes from and how to overcome it, and setting the right mindset to even make that approach to somebody. Because we as human beings don't want to be rejected. We have fear of rejection.
Yeah, we do. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So I had to share this comment. This comes from Canada. Our Canadian friend Robert Brooker says, follow-up is also something that is very much a work in progress for me. It's all on paper right now.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think a lot of times we plan, we write things down, Sarah, we have great intentions, but we don't take that next step, the action process, like you're helping that individual get over her fear of speaking.
Mm.
Or some people don't even like picking up the phone and calling people. I used to feel that way. I don't even think twice about it, because I've always said, well, the worst thing they can do is hang up. So what? Here we go.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's what I always tell myself, and even every now and then you run across someone that's not so kind. I just said, well, maybe they were having a bad day. On to the next one.
Yeah. Well, it's never about you anyway.
No.
They've got something going on in their head that you don't know about. So
right. And I've got your info scrolling below here. So if anything's, I've got your LinkedIn page as well as your email address. I didn't dare put up your phone number. We didn't want everybody. But I got to ask you, tell me what net socializing. I that sounds like a buzzword, but I mean, did you coin that, or? Okay, could you explain that to us, what that is?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think my husband and I both coined that one, because we've been laughing about it for a couple of years. It's where somebody goes to networking groups just to meet with friends, or maybe not even meet new people, because I'm sure each of you have experienced going to a networking group. You might come in about 10, 15 minutes late, and they're little groups in different places. A whole bunch of people over there.
Yeah.
And they all know each other, and they've been doing this for months or years, and they use it as a socializing event on the way home from work, or
Yes.
at lunchtime, or for breakfast in the morning. But there's no networking going on. It's just chatting with the people that you know, having a good time. And I have a tendency to go in and break up those little cliques. Hey, y'all, what are y'all talking about?
We're all guilty of that, and I tease my wife. We go to we're Orthodox Christians, and I tease the Greeks whenever there's a social gathering. They all think, I'm like, hey, get out and meet some other people. One time we had an event, and I'm like, it's okay. Meet new people. Like at a wedding, go meet the different people that show up here. You see these people every Sunday. Why do you just? But we like cocoon it. We feel safe. But that is so true. I remember back in the day, we would go to these events, and maybe there was a handful of people we missed, even if they were there. But we just latched on to people we knew. Oh, there's Tom, there's Sara, there's Steve over here. Oh, I'm going to hang out in that group, just to catch up on the latest, whatever. And, you're missing things because you just want to hang together.
You could be missing. You have no idea that a best-selling author might be standing behind you.
Right.
Or the inventor of a product that you think is the most wonderful thing is across the room. You just never know. You never know.
And here, I got to share that Robert's on a roll. He said, I did pop into a live stream with a very large following to ask a question, but didn't have a question. This did provide later, comic value too. Yeah, well, that's probably kind of wild, Robert. That's like, that to me is like showing up at a wedding and you're at the altar, and then you decide, I'm not going to do this. I'm out of here. But that's different. That's different. But no, I appreciate you. I knew that had to do something like that. And there are people, they go to these events, different groups. And I really I'll put a plug in it. I like Peachtree Corners Business Association because it's a giving organization. It's not perfect, but they try and bring in good guests. Lisa does a great job at that. And the rest of the crew, they do a nice job. And it's a good mix of people. And I never even thought, when I met you, I was like, wow. I met somebody today, I was like looking at your card, and I think your card's cool here. I don't know if we can, let's see if I can get it close. I like that. That's kind of cool. Kind of laid back approach to what you do. And that's you, It
is. The photographer did a good job on capturing that picture. So.
Yeah. So what I know that you teach at Kennesaw. Is there anything that you can share with us right now you're working on that, we don't know about? Are you working on a new course or book? Or
Yeah, the book is going to come. I'm still working on creating the outline for the book.
Nice.
I've got a friend who lives in Houston, Texas, who is also a published author, and she just finished publishing a book. So she's going to turn her attention to me next year. So we'll work on that. But the other thing I'm working on is my absolute number one ideal customer is the chief marketing officer of an emerging franchisor. Now, most people don't know what emerging franchisor is, so let me explain that. Let's say, Tom, you had a great idea for a product or service. I met a company the other day that does nothing but repair, restore, paint, put new fronts on drawers, called The Art of Drawers. And they've been doing that service for a while, and they've got a couple of locations, and they thought, hey, we should franchise this. So now they're going through the process of getting all the infrastructure together. The federal government requires certain documentation, that type of thing. But they don't know anything about how to put together training for their franchisees. So my offering to all of those chief marketing officers is for me to write their training. And if they have existing training, I can look at it and see if it's in good shape, use it as it is. But I also have a company that has a learning management system, and a learning management system is nothing more than an electronic place to put training. And we will white label that learning management system for the franchisor. And I can basically act as a fractional chief training officer or director of training, whatever, but on a fractional basis, but give them the ability to have a very professional look to their training curriculum, have their training curriculum be real training, not just an information dump, and have a place for it to be securely stored so their franchisees can use it anytime.
Wonderful.
Wow. Tom, you got a question? I don't want
No,
to.
I'll definitely I just definitely want to be in touch with Sara on a personal basis. So I'll be reaching out to you.
Man, maybe I did something right here. I made a connection for somebody.
Hey, Mark did it!
Hey, this is networking. This is exactly
it is at its best.
And how do your students feel about using this versus going face to face, or that dreaded pick up the phone and make a call to set up an appointment? Do you guys ever talk about that in class?
Of course we do. Of course we do. It depends on the industry that you're in, as to whether the industry does better with on the phone or face to face. Mostly face to face networking is what I would call safe cold calling. So I would say that what my students and I decided is the best strategy, and I let them discover it on their own. I felt this was right from the beginning, was you start going to networking groups. For example, if a student gets hired by a sales organization, as I told y'all, that sales organization should tell that salesperson who their ideal customer is and where they hang out. So they should go to those conferences, those industry events, the chambers of commerce, whatever it is, to go meet those people. There may be some instances, for example, if you go to a chamber of commerce event, they will publish a list of who attended that event. Then you can follow up with phone calls. You can say, hey, I met you at the such and such event. I wanted to get a one-to-one with you. I missed you, or whatever you want to say. And that way you can follow up. And it's more warm than just picking up the phone calling completely cold.
Right.
But that process really works the best. Whereas I've attended a meeting. I've got a list of people who are at the meeting. It's a warm touch, and follow up that way.
Okay.
I have a question for you. It not only helping people find the appropriate networking events, do you help organizations or people create a networking platform or an event type situation? That's
sure.
That one?
If it warrants that, if it looks like that's the best avenue to creating more connections, absolutely. I have helped people put together a couple of very specialized networking events. For example, I had coffee this afternoon with a friend who's putting together the group is called Women of Wealth. It's a not-for-profit, but it's targeted at training women about money and how to save money and invest money so that they, whether they're single or married, but they understand how money works. So she and I are putting that networking group together.
Okay, great.
Cool. And Tom would hate me if I didn't ask you this question. Everybody has to have a why, and you pretty much have given us your why, but can you tell us what drives you every day to do what you do, Sara? Because not everybody's into networking. There are some people that they do believe point, click, transactional, on to the next thing, instead of being transformational or authentic or trying to help people. And that's something that, we all struggle with. How can I help this person? What can I do to help them? And well, can you share your why? Have you ever you and your husband probably have sat down and you're doing this business. So I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I could pull out, I've got Simon Sinek's book over there, Start With Why. And I've got so much stuff written in that book. But the number one thing is I'm on a mission to change traditional networking because it can be such a colossal waste of time. I'm trying to help people learn how to develop relationships and speed up the know, like, and trust process. And we talk about what makes know, like, and trust. What is it? What is it that makes you feel like you can trust somebody? What's the point? I mean, at what point in the timeline that you've known somebody can you say, oh, there's the trust point? So we talk about those things, and that's my goal. Is my why is to help people see that they're wasting time with net socializing, that they can do a much better job of connecting with people. And it's not transactional. It's not this hurry up, tell me what's going on because I've got to get on to the next person. It's a very specific use of your time in helping people and connecting people that will bring the circle back to you for the benefit of having helped other people. So I'm on a mission to help people network better.
Yeah. I think it goes down to coming from the personal development, understanding Maslow.
Yeah.
Do you see me? Do you hear me? And do you care? I think that's, yeah,
that's right. And, sometimes you can feel connected to somebody in a matter of minutes. I went to a big networking event last Wednesday night. There were probably, 70 people there, and we were divided up into groups, and each group was conducted like a mastermind. And so quickly you could hear that somebody's tone of voice, whether they were into themselves or whether they wanted to be part of the group. It was minutes that you could figure out who was trustworthy. Now, maybe not trust them entirely, but you knew who was trustworthy in that group. So it just depends on the situation. But yeah, you gotta get to that trust point.
Sure.
Got you. Hey, Tom, do you have anything else?
No, I'm grateful she came on today, and
look at that, man. All right.
That's what we're about, because there's one little nugget here that somebody can pick up and apply in their business and move their goals, their objectives, their why forward in a positive way. I appreciate all you shared, and we'll definitely keep you in mind, especially when your book is written. And I'll be reaching out to you as well. I've got excellent business forum that I moderate, so I'll like to have you come out and speak to our group as well in the future. So it'd be in this forum. You don't have to come to a Econom Walk.
Well, let's see if I could pronounce it. I could get there, I guess.
Yeah. But you've been, Sara, you've been a real joy. I've learned a lot, and I love the pleasant attitude, and I feel very safe and trusting when I listen to you speak. I'm not just saying that. I wouldn't shut down. I mean, you approach it in the right way. Some of us have egos, and as I always say, I left that ego at the door a long time ago, because when I go into these events, like I know I've been to them, and sometimes you can feel that, well, who's this person? Or I'm like, oh Lord, it's one of these deals. They're looking for names, titles, dates, places, and it's just crazy.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
and I will share a truism here. This happened in Greece, and my son wanted to buy a cross, a necklace, and it was similar to the one I have, and his is a little bit bigger, and it should be. He's a little bit bigger than me, but I got mine 28 years ago. And very nice older lady, to the T, just took her time and had a great experience. So we're in downtown Athens, and the first thing this guy asked him if he was Greek. The next thing was he asked him how much money does he have. Next thing he asked him, what's he do? And I'm like, do any of those things have anything to do with what he's interested in? You haven't asked anything. And my son was feeling really uncomfortable. You got to understand the pressure that he was under when we walked in that store. I mean, it was intense. You talk about transactional. And he said, Dad, I said, you want to get out of here, don't you? I said, thank you, sir. We're leaving,
Yeah. Yeah. That does make you feel uncomfortable when they're looking for a transaction, for sure.
And we found something somewhere else for him. And it was totally different.
Good.
But it was just wild when I was there, and I'm like, Oh my goodness, this is sales 101. This guy is obliterating this kid to the nth degree. And my son, he's a grad student now, but it was kind of funny because we hadn't been to Greece 28 years ago. And so now we took him. My other son, he was with his wife. So it was kind of cool. We all got together. But things change, and that has become westernized. I hate to say it, but like everything else does, but it was just wild to watch their approach on how they do things. But
I'm sure.
Well, like I said, we definitely have to get you back, Sara. And I know you got things to do. And Tom, we're at that hour, right? We're like at the 6:45 plus hour. And we said, we try and keep it, at this time frame so we don't blow people out because people have lives. And believe it or not, there is a thing called Thanksgiving. Some people are in, some people are out. Imagine that. As I found out today, trying to connect with people, I got a guy on the phone, potential client, and it was funny. He said, Mark, I'm with my son visiting. Can you call me next week? I said, hey, no worries. Good deal. Enjoy your time with your son, and we'll talk, like next Tuesday. But, just got to roll with it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is what I was going to ask you. The holidays, since you're into networking, isn't that a great time to network with people? What do you think?
Oh, God. Networking happens anywhere, even in the line at the grocery store.
Right.
I just love talking to people, finding out what's going on in their lives. I have my extended family on my side, on my father's side. There's a lot of us. And at Thanksgiving, I think we'll probably have, maybe 60 or 70 people. And it's always a party. It's always a party.
I'm coming to your place, man. That's
Oh, hey, we have music and disco balls and dancing. It's fun.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. We do. But one of my cousins is always into something new. A lot of them are in agriculture over near Athens, Georgia. So I'm always learning something new about something with cattle or sheep or goats or something. So that's always interesting. So we'll have a good time.
That's neat. Well, listen, Sara, I want to thank you again. Wait, one more comment, so I'll show it here. And here we go. Robert says, indeed, I may be found networking at all hours, depending on where the people I'm networking with are. You got that right, sir. You never know.
You never know.
You have been truly a joy to have on on Elevate Your Profits. I'm glad we were able to do this. And, I know you're going to have a blessed Thanksgiving with your family and friends. I wish I could come there because back in our day, we used to have a lot of people come to our house, but some people leave the planet, they move on. So, but I'm sure I'll see you at some networking function somewhere, if not at PCBA. And one of the things you mentioned, I like what Lisa did right from the very start. Everybody has to drop their business card there, and then they send out an email saying, here's who attended. And, she's always diligent about what the next event is. So.
And good for her. She does a good job.
No, she does. She does. She's a great recruiter, I hear. So, that she just does that for fun, right?
Exactly.
She makes the big bucks doing that,
That's right. Yeah, a couple of transactions a month and let everybody else do the work.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what we're going to do, Sara, is put you in the green room real quick. We're going to end this, so please don't go anywhere. We're going to ask a question or two, and we'll let you go. But I'm going to send you back in there. I don't know if we have M&Ms, gumdrops, sugar cookies, whatever.
I'm sure I'll find it.
Feel free. I'm sure they're there. Well, Tom, what do you think?
Awesome. I think, that's the foundation of success in business,
right.
Is the relationship and how to do that in a way with an outcome that you seek as well. But I think what she has to offer and what she's teaching is so vital in today's business environment. COVID and the networking on Zoom calls and such allowed us to connect and other people. Right. We created this program. It's helped my business in many different ways just by putting yourself out there, and it's not
Right.
comfortable always, when we understand human nature a little bit and our fear factors and that. But I look forward to learning more about her book and having her back on. I'll be reaching out to her on a personal basis as well, to throw some ideas at her and ask for her guidance and perspective, and we'll take it from there. So, and reach out to anybody's out there. Reach out to Sara.
Please reach out to Sara. And, if you call me or if you want her phone number, I'll have to ask permission, but it is on her business card. But I'm not just going to plaster it out there so she gets inundated with crazy calls. But great lady, and, offers some real value and wisdom. And with that, I'm going to say and thank everybody that from Eric to Robert and others that are listening and watching. Thank you. Please tag and share this. Send it out. It could help somebody. Tonight, this went on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. How about that? And so there you go. Right. So it went out there. So someone's going to see me on LinkedIn and figure, man, I'm not talking to that dude. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm going to close this thing out, Tom, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I just want to wish everybody a blessed, happy Thanksgiving. Take some time to reflect what you're grateful for.
Absolutely.
From family to friends to your business, prosperity, all the things that we have in our life. And I just want to thank everybody for being part of our audience. And there's Pillar to Pillar.
Jim Skursky says, thanks for the interesting topic. I had to share it. And I know him from where? Peachtree Corners Business Association. So there you go. Gentleman Jim.
Yeah, everybody have a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. All the above. Happy New Year, safe New Year, and a prosperous 2025.
Be nice to your aunt and uncle that maybe you don't like this Thanksgiving. Try something new that Sara shared with us. You might find it an interesting conversation will evolve. And with that, Tom, I'm going to close this thing out.
Okay, do your thing.